Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today I'm going to be talking once again about IBIO. This is going to be a standalone video though. I'm going to go through technical analysis briefly. I'm then going to dive deeply into the news, what I think about this company, and what's yet to come. Now make sure to drop a like this video to help the algorithms catch this video. Subscribe and leave notifications on. Let's jump right into it. From a 1 week perspective, what we get to see here on an MACD, it's actually curving up on a weekly perspective. That shows in a really nice bullish indicator that we're actually heading in the right direction. Now, willing percent R puts this one at oversold. Momentum seems to be recovering a little bit. ADX shows in a very strong negative trend here around 43.03. Although the moving averages here look like they might, well, they're almost all touching, so really can explode in either direction. And that is basically what we're getting out of this. So now we're going to move on towards 1 day perspective to try to see a little bit in terms of the intra trading perspective for this one here. What we get to see here on the 1 hour perspective is that an MACD here seems to be attempting to go towards the negative side. So that is a little bit off a bearish sign, but it has before attempted multiple times and failed every single time, at least in the last month or so. Volume here seems to be picking up a little bit slowly, although the unbalanced volume has been declining, so that's a little bit of a dangerous. Moving averages do look bearish, and it looks like it's actually going on a little bit on a downtrend here. And ADX shows in a very sloppy movement. But technical analysis don't really matter as much when it comes in towards news, so this is just for our anticipation for what the psychology of investors are. The 1 hour perspective, merely for the next few hours, also shows in a bit more of a sloppy movement here. Now, taking a quick look into the moving average band, it's expected to trade at 185 in the bottom, 205 in the middle, and 226 in the top. So that still looks kind of bullish. It looks like it's trading still within the band. It hasn't dropped the band yet, but the band is a little bit declining downwards, so that might be a little bit of a dangerous sign. The stochastic fast and slow here is where we're interested in. We get to see on the fast, it's actually starting to curve upwards, and that is a really nice thing to see. Although in the percent D here, the red line, it's not yet curved up, so it gives us an indication that we might actually be very similar to what we're seeing here. And you get to see it's almost identical. So, with all likeliness, they're going to be a pullback followed by a little bit of a run going forward. That could be in terms of mirroring the previous charts, but it still looks a lot stronger from what it was before. Of course, there's different indicators and different levels that we're looking at in order to determine the movement on this. Going on next is Fibonacci retracements, and we're going to try to identify the basic levels of supports and resistances that we need to count on. Now I'm going to take the 745 as our top level, and then from that point on, what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way down to around $1 or just below $1, around 79 cents. We get to see the resistance currently sitting at 237 with above it 335, and the support on the Fibonacci retracement sitting at the 0.79 cent. Now, taking into consideration the significant supports and resistances, significant support sits at $1.96, and then below that is $1.90, and then below that we're looking at $1.80, and then below that we're looking at $1.68, and the most significant one at the current time being is $1.61. Now, taking a quick look into resistances, and this is kind of the ones you need to keep an eye on. $2.10, that's a significant one here, and then above there, $2.24. Above there, we're looking at 247 to 263. Now coming on towards the good stuff, the news. So in terms of the company presentation, if you're in this stock for the COVID-19 vaccine, you might be out of luck. Because if we were to look into the COVID-19 vaccine, both the VLP and the subnet one, it's still in preclinical. You look into companies like Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and all these ones that are way ahead in their phase 3 in terms of their vaccine. This one is still even preclinical, so it's way too far. I mean, in their swine fever vaccine, they're in clinical developments, and that's been initiated for a while. But here's one thing that you need to really consider is their fast farming technology. I've said that before. We're not really looking for them to develop a vaccine. You'd probably be in the wrong purpose coming into this one, because the competitors have a lot more funds, a lot more technology, but this one here comes in a very amazing way. Basically fits a piece of the puzzle that a lot of people are not thinking about. What happens when they come with a vaccine? Production is going to kick in. We have 7-8 billion people in the world. Comes in towards How do we produce? How do we mass produce it? And then one of the options is fast farming systems, and it's a novel manufacturing platform that enables rapid production of high quality biological medicines in plants. And it basically, the technology behind it is really fascinating. It uses plants in terms of its own technology to replicate materials and ingredients that comes in towards creating that vaccine. And so in a way, you're using, instead of a bioreactor that usually poses with pollutant, you're using a biodegradable bioreactor. And so it saves months of developments and time for completing methods, research, and quantities available in just 8 weeks. CGMP material in as little as 8 months. Better, no expensive, labor-intensive cell line developments. Avoid scale-up challenges, just grow more plants. The glycolation controls for increased molecule quality and potency, lower upfront facility expenses versus the mammalian cell culture system. Now, it's safer and greener because it has lower contamination risks and avoid plastic waste association with producing protein in a single-use system. So that is one massive thing. You can watch my previous video. I went through basically transcript of the CEO explaining what that is. Now, the CDMO services for expanding capabilities, we're looking at their fast licensing for increased molecule potency. And they are working on a state-of-the-art facility for an automated system for vertical farming with 130,000 square feet. Now, that is where I think a lot of the technology lies. It's not their COVID-19 vaccine, because I think they're a little bit behind on that curve. But in terms of coming in terms of using their fast farming, that's the next big thing you need to look at. They have 80 plus issues patents various countries, 39 plus active patents application, aggressively defending. They have 15 million case versus front, and it looks actually quite bullish in that section. Now, let's take a quick look into the filings, and that is something exciting for me to try to identify, well, what's going on in there. So, one of the early on farming, SEC filings is the fast farming development and manufacturing system to increase speed to clinical for new candidates. They're also using fast farming system to use to create proteins and bioinks for research, and further manufacturing uses variety research and developing R&D applications, including 3D bioprinting, in addition to the free-for-service basis for production of proteins. And so they break the CDMO, therapeutics, vaccine, and research into this way. The CDMO services process development and manufacturing of protein products in hydroponically grown, transistently transfected plants. Quite interesting. They're going to be deployed in their 130,000 square feet manufacturing facility in Texas. And basically, it creates an inside opportunity for fast farming systems rather than outsourcing it production to IBIO CDMO for the products. So that is interesting when we look into it. Next thing is their results for the fiscal year that was back in June 30, 2020, and just a bit of the highlights that they had in terms of fast farming here. Really, that's what I want to focus on in this one here. Company entered into an initial statement of work with Azigan Biotechnologies Limited, Azargen, pursuant to which IBIO will manufacture research quantity of plant made for Azargen using IBIO's proprietary fast farming systems. So what we're looking here is a proof for it actually being working, and what we look into later on SEC filings, because I already worked ahead in it, is that there has been before proofs that it actually does work, and in the same time there's other partners that are jumping on this as well. So their next meeting happening is on, I believe, December 9th. The annual meeting will be on December 27th. And basically, I believe the vote material will be on or before the October 23rd for what you're going to be voting on. I don't expect anything massive. I think just the usual increase in their shelf size. I don't think a reverse split here isn't talks. I don't even know why they would do one. They don't need to. So that'll be interesting. They have appointed John Delta as the company's principal accounting officer. So that is one of the things that we're looking at new here. I did try to pull him up. Yep, he's currently working as a CFO slash principal accounting officer. Last time he worked as a CFO was for Double Positive Marketing Group. He has a master and a bachelor degree from University of Virginia. Nothing much I can pull up on him. I couldn't find him on LinkedIn, but I was able to find two other directors. I'll talk about it in a sec. Here's a bit of news that I want to read. IBIO is pleased to partner with Safi as we leverage our capabilities and we know how to for this innovative cell therapy program, said the CEO. This opportunity is natural fit for our new portfolio of research and bioprocess products in which we are developing animal-free solutions for cell cultures and 3D bioprinting applications, among others. This is also referring to their fast farming technology. I mean, it's even mentioned here. Try to go on to see what Safi's about, and we get to see it's actually a little bit more off going through blood cells and tailored cells. So that's interesting to see if they can actually grow that kind of proteins or just solutions for sickle cell diseases within the bioprinting. That would be very exciting to see, and I'm pretty sure that would be considered more of a breakthrough for that field. IBIO also was added to Russell 2000 and Russell 3000 indexes, and we'll look into things, for instance, like the next SEC filings. There was updates to COVID-19 vaccine all the way back in August, which had a bit of positive results with 10 distinct preclinical studies. Arms for IBIO 201 showed antigens in mice. So that is still positive news, but I think it's a little bit way too behind in terms of jumping up phases. I mean, it still technically has a chance, but I think the chance we need to focus on is fast farming again. Now, they did also enter with Planet Biotechnology into an exclusive worldwide license agreement for development of a COVID-19 therapeutic. Although, as well, almost under the same news, this is all the way back in August. There's other contenders as well, similar to REG's one. This is a website. Couldn't find much about them. Well, they're not an they're not a public company, so they don't have an investor relations, etc. on them. So if you would like you to search up and start digging on it, it might be a little bit harder, but you might be able to find some more stuff, but I don't think it's that necessary to do so. They do have a size in their shelf. The next thing was way back in terms of their shelf offering that they did have a while ago. Coming on towards revenues, and what we get to see in 2020, we've seen a decrease in revenues, 96 compared to 527,000. And if we were to look into basically the net loss, that's what I'm interested in. Their net loss comes in at, let me double check here, because I thought there was sorry, my bad. So net loss comes in somewhere around, in terms of the cash that is paid, around 1.7 million. That's the net cash used as well in operating activities, so close to 10 million in negative. So that is interesting there. Net loss, they haven't reported anything that seems to be under 2020 in condensed consolidated statements of equity, but it's mentioned in their 3 months ending report that comes in around almost the same number, around 4.7 million compared to 4.2 million. Now, in terms of cash, they do have a little bit of cash left coming in, I believe around 10 million. So it looks like they might be fine for the next 2 quarters. I believe this was a quarter ending March, so they have probably till the end of the year before they need to raise capital or do another offering. Now, we do have as well additions to multiple different appointees in terms of directors. Gary Sender here, I'm pretty sure this is the exact person we're talking about. He also works as Chief Financial Officer for NBRV. That's a company he was in a while ago, as well as he did work in the Chief Financial Officer for SGYP. So it looks like he actually does have experience as well in operating public companies, even though NBRV as well has been a penny stock for quite a while. Alexander here is working as well in the IBIO board. And then we do have one more that I could not find. So I did find Alexander and Gary Sender, but Linda Armstrong I could not find. So we'll just skip through that. Institutional buyers, we don't see anything significant coming in from them. It's mainly index funds, and the last thing was that happened was on the 15th they decreased. On the 14th they added a little bit of shares here and there, but nothing significant that you say, okay, a company took a large stake in this company. Insider, nothing that I get to see in terms that is significant enough for me. Now, let's jump into what I think about the stock. Now, this one here has been hurt by pumpers, right? And that's what pumpers do. They come in, they cause a trail of accidents behind them, and they basically walk it into the day and tell you, well, you know what? I initially start pumping it at $1. So right now it's at $7, $8. But what happens is a dump follows. So right now it's been accumulating. I think it's a nice zone to consider buying in the next couple of weeks, perhaps after the elections. Because right now, COVID-19 and vaccines and fast farming and all that stuff is probably going to be in the hands of politicians. As much as it sounds basically messed up, but that might be the case. So I still do see a future for this one, and I think if they utilize fast farming in the right direction, and that really depends on the board of directors, you might actually get to see a really nice benefit in terms of this stock price action. That's my opinion on this. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like it. Have a wonderful day.